of the Ellcon National cylinder lubricant. First, disconnect cylinder hose on cylinder and handbrake connection from live lever, if connected, before removing truck from under car. Carefully remove the 4 bolts and lock nuts attaching the cylinder to the bolster saddle assembly. As the bolts are loosened, the piston return spring will push the cylinder toward the axle. Rotate the cylinder upward and slide it over the axle. On later models, shackle assembly attached to eye-bolt will stay with actuator lever. Discard the flange gasket. After the cylinder has been removed, slide the spring and the piston assembly out of the cylinder. Remove the packing cup and the wear ring from the piston. Clean the spring, piston assembly, and cylinder thoroughly. Then inspect for any worn or damaged parts. Replace with new if needed. On later models, piston and cylinder are electroless nickel-plated. Then measure the overall length of spring. Spring length should be minimum of 9 7/16 inches for the 7 1/2 and the 8 1/2 inch diameter cylinders, and 12 1/2 inches long for the 10-inch diameter cylinder. If spring is short, replace with new spring. Now install the new wear ring and packing cup on the piston assembly. Then, with an AAR-approved brake cylinder lubricant, lubricate the packing cup and wear ring as shown. Be careful not to lubricate the back dome of packing cup. Now, lubricate the inside of the cylinder and the spring. Then insert the piston assembly into the cylinder, making sure that the packing cup is not deformed or pinched. Lubricate the outside sleeve of the piston before sliding the return spring onto the piston assembly. Now remove the retainer and the O-ring from the non-pressure head, which is part of the bolster saddle. On older models without O-rings, remove felt and felt retainer. Now clean out the non-pressure head cavity. Then change out the vent assembly on the bottom side with the new vent assembly. Lubricate the non-pressure head with the approved brake cylinder lubricant. Install the new O-ring inside, and then with the hole in the seal assembly at 12 o'clock position, slide the seal assembly into the non-pressure head, making sure that it is completely seated. Now the cylinder assembly can be reinstalled on the bolster saddle by first placing the new flange gasket on the mounting surface, and then with the 1/2 inch flange in the correct orientation, work the cylinder assembly down over the axle and up against the mounting surface. When lined up, install 3 bolts and eye-bolt with shackle and secure with 4 new lock nuts and tighten. Make sure eye-bolt orientation is correct so chain is straight. Connect air supply to 1/2 inch flange on the cylinder so that required air tests can be performed to check the piston travel. Follow same procedure as stated earlier in this video for setting piston travel at the 2 3/4 inches plus or minus 1/4 inch. Use soapy water to check for leaks when air is applied.